Boom. Doom, 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 doom. How's everyone doing today? What's going on here? I think I have a wrong window on. Oh, I know what's going on. Give me 1 second. Boom. Okay. Sorry for that. A little bit of a hiccup there. Trying new setups and shit as usual. Moved my mic away from the face a little bit. I hope I do sound normal. There might be a little bit more echo and all of that stuff. So obviously I'm interviewing myself, as you guys noticed. So, Maciej, how are you? Where do you come from? How is your life? No, I'm not gonna do that. Don't get it twisted. I'm definitely not gonna do that. So, I don't know what is this session's gonna turn out to be. Honestly, I'm still a little sick, as you can probably hear it. So I'll try to sort of like play it safe and talk a little bit and maybe get to some more AMA and stuff like that. So definitely we'll do that. And obviously I'm testing like the new mic position and all that shit. So if that sounds horrible to you guys, let me know right away. Then I'll change that the next stream. So I did it basically so that I can actually have my mic away a little bit more, not so much in my face, so it's not like interfering with me painting and whatnot. So that's basically what's going on here, and I hope it doesn't suck. I really hope it doesn't suck. Am I working on the new course? Yes, I do. There was a survey sent out to students about some of the questions and whatnot, so that way we can make the course to be actually the way you guys want it. I do have a theme for what it's going to be. I know what I want to teach. All of that stuff is just now getting all the nooks and crannies in a place and then starting to record. So that's basically where it's up. So but it's in works. As I said to you guys before, I don't want to do a course that's going to be a rehash of everything that I've done so far. So that would be a disservice to you guys. I hate doing that. I'd rather work on something for a longer time and make it fucking good. Make it so that stays there for a while. It's not something that just gonna be redundant after a couple of weeks. One of the reasons why I stopped doing gumroads, because they were quick and they were fun to work on. They were probably financially better decision to make gumroads instead of making an actual course. The problem was a lot of the stuff that I was teaching in the gumroads, it's already outdated or it doesn't apply so well anymore. And it's like audio is shitty and editing sucks and it might not be as entertaining to watch. Something I always find interesting with courses and educational stuff is not only it has to have a good content, but it has to be, at least to me, somewhat entertaining to watch. I've seen couple of like really good content gumroads, but I almost fell asleep like after 5 minutes, and that's fucking horrible. Like I need to be focused to do that shit. It was horrible to focus. So yeah, so that's something I want to avoid, obviously. And as you guys know, and for those who follow Learn Squared and know what kind of stuff we do here, you're pretty much aware that we're trying to make it so that it doesn't suck. And it's probably the best thing you will ever get. Like the best fucking thing you will ever get. Guaranteed, allegedly guaranteed, 100% savage, fucking whatever hashtag you want to put on it. So, cool. As you guys can probably hear, I'm still sick. It's been the worst flu I've ever had. I think I think I've been sick for like past 2 weeks or so, or even more. Fucking sucks, man. Because I feel like crap, and my family is sick too. It feels absolutely horrible. I don't advise anyone to get ever sick ever like that. So easier said than done, obviously. So how you guys doing? Actually, that would be a better question to ask. How you guys are doing? I hope everyone is well. Hope you guys been enjoying your weekends and whatnot, or the week. I guess the week is way in already, so I hope that's going well for you guys. Good news is obviously I'm feeling better than I felt like last week. Like last week was fucking horrible, and even week before, those sucked so much I couldn't talk. I don't know how I made that Twitch stream last week. How I made that happen. It was crazy that I managed to fucking survive talking for an hour with Jama and whatnot. It felt really bad, but enough about fucking bad things. Let's talk about good things. Let's talk about some goodies. So first thing first is we're having a new course coming out, and we are going to make a stream with Kirill next week. There's going to be more information on social media on exact time and day, but tune in. It's going to be awesome. Like, for those who, I've said it on Facebook already, if you ever struggle to learn like hard surface design, this is fucking best thing you can get, in my opinion. And if you value my opinion, then fucking listen. But yeah, like I can guarantee you that if I had an option to take that course, way back when, where is this fucking place image? Oh, those are the new tooltips, right? Fuck it, I don't need that. I already know Photoshop enough. But yeah, Fusion 360. It's not really hard of a hard software to learn, but it has a lot of like features that you can miss that will make your designing process much easier and faster. So that's something you have to take into consideration when you're looking for learning material. And I think one of the things that you guys know already by watching or just being students of Learn Squared, like, we are trying to get the best people in the industry to teach that stuff to you. So, and I think that's important because then you get an actual professional workflows that work in the top movies, video games, and whatnot. You actually get the cream of a crop, you know? So I'm not saying we are the only school doing that, but we are obviously the best school doing that. So here's my pitch. I'm doing a lot of like fucking plugging today, but that's fine. Should be proud of myself, or proud of the school. Not myself. I'm never proud of myself, honestly. Anyways, so what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna continue this painting. I might do some little changes to the way it looks. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna take my time working on it slow, so you can see everything that's going on. Someone asked about new features. I'll go over those as well. Those are not that many, but they're pretty fucking cool. At least there's one feature that we'll go over that is really cool, and it's actually worth upgrading just for that feature, in my opinion. You guys obviously can ask any questions you want. I'll answer them. I'll answer every single question in some way. If it's a very intimate question, I'll try to answer it too, but you might not like the answer. So drinking some water. I'm on the water and cough syrup and cough pills. That's basically my diet right now. So here we go. Oh, by the way, for those who are Learn Squared students as well, I highly advise you guys to test out the Discord that we have. I cannot remember from the top of my head where the link to that Discord is. I'll make sure that it's being posted somewhere, maybe on my social media or something. Or email to the students. I think if you're a student, you should already have an email. We're planning to completely switch from Slack to Discord. In my opinion, it's such a better platform. It has way more features. Now they've added a video and screen sharing as well, which means it's already superior to it has all of the features of Slack already. And if you're a gamer, that's awesome because you're just gonna be with one platform. You don't have to move back and forth. Yeah, I think that too, man. I think Slack is done with those new features, unless they drop something really heavy. I guess that would make sense and then propel. But at least for what we're doing, we don't need Slack at this point. Discord sort of starting to prove itself to be way better platform for us specifically. So, and it seems that you guys been enjoying it too. So that's what really matters to us. So, yeah. And what else? What else? Feel free to ask any questions, by the way, guys. Do you come back to fundamentals from time to time? Yes, I do. I actually spoke about this before when I was, I think when I finished my first class, or no, the second one, the Intro to Environment Painting, which has a lot of fundamentals there. Like a lot of foundation stuff is in that class. I've mentioned that I found it to be really important to get back to foundation, understanding of perspective and all of those things, because even myself, I've been working in this industry, 2004, 2003, no, 2004 when I started. So that's 13 years, right? 13 years. Yeah, 13 years of working professionally. And then obviously the work, like learning and sort of trying to understand the craft. That's obviously a couple of years prior, and then everything else. So let's say it's almost 20 years of like maybe a year or two short of 2 decades of being an artist. In that time, I think I've learned enough to understand lighting and perspective and everything, even though I don't have traditional sort of education, like an actual art education, which, by the way, I don't think you need to have like an academic education, honestly. You just need to learn those things, and you can learn them from everywhere right now. And absolutely nobody gives a fuck whether you have the paper or not, whether you are a bachelor in fine arts or not. Nobody gives a fuck about that. It only matters for if you want to move to US and you want to be applying for visa, then that's the only reason. If you're not a US citizen and you want to become a US citizen, that might help you. It's not necessary, because I don't have it and I'm still here in the US on the green card. But yeah, like, it doesn't matter. But when I was making that course, I had to go back to foundation, and what I've noticed is that I have a lot of holes in foundation myself. Which required me, before I recorded anything, to sort of refresh a lot of that memory and learn from it too. And the best thing about it was when I started teaching that course and did my mentorships, what happened is I had students asking me questions that were sort of like curveballs to me, and I've learned that I don't know that as much as I wish I knew, and or I knew things from sort of intuition, but I couldn't explain them. So I found that sort of like going back to the roots of the foundation and whatnot helped me really to understand the topic and pay more attention to what colors and design choices I'm making and what kind of perspective I'm looking at. All of those things sort of just going back to foundation made me more aware about what I'm doing. Instead of doing it by intuition, I could plan more for things. So I think that really helped me. And for people who want to learn, I think that's, you have to start with foundation. You can learn tools really quick and make things look nice, but you will never make things look on like a professional level or a level where you can work with clients on a really, really high level if you don't know foundation. That's not going to happen. You might be working for some, I don't know, postcards or, local print shops without knowing that, and sort of just being intuitively okay. And if that's good for you, if that's good enough for you, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. It just matters is the goals you have in your life, obviously. But I would say if you want to be working in video games and whatnot, you have to know foundation. Otherwise, you're gonna be fucked. You're gonna be fucked. The moment you're gonna be asked to do changes to your images, it's the moment where everything's gonna start collapsing for you. So, I would say, yeah, get to learn foundation, brother. What else? What other questions are there? Is there preferable book about goals and refine them and know what you want and these kind of mindset to help? Jesus, this question, I understand. All right, let me read it again. Is there a preferable book about goals and to refine them and know about what you want and the kind of mindset to help the one who struggle with his choices a lot? I'm not a native English speaker as well, so I understand we do make those mistakes. I'm not gonna scold you for that. It's all good. But the essence of the question was, is there is a book that helps you to make your own choices, I guess. There are no such books, man. I do recommend books that help you to be more productive in a way, or find ways where like you're really stuck and you don't know what to do, and there are some obvious things that you can start doing that will help you. And for that reason, I would say, yeah, like get those self-help books for that sole reason, sort of like to refine your mindset, or you find what strengths you have. That will help you definitely. I think reading a lot of books, or a couple of them, to find different perspectives and give them a try is something that really helped me, because then I understood myself a little better, what kind of strengths and weaknesses I have, and what things I can do and things that I cannot do, no matter how much I try, or they become so grueling to me that there's no fun in it and I lose interest. Like, those are things you have to pay attention to as well. But in terms of making choices and sort of like paving your own life, I think there's a couple of common sense things that you have to understand, and you have to do. So one, in order to make the right choices, you have to have enough information to know which choice is right. So, and if you cannot find that information, you should you should try it. So for instance, you're not entirely sure if I'm supposed to maybe be a 3D artist instead of concept artist, because those are two different crafts, right? So try both. Try learning drawing and see what it really is and what it really entails, and then try modeling. And always compare yourself to the best, and try to sort of like pave in your head a path, how long it would take and how much struggle it will be for you to get from point A to B in that path, and then the same thing for another path, right? So how much would I have to struggle to be an artist and work in video games versus if I choose to be like if I choose to be a concept artist and work for video games, what do I need to do in order to be as good as, I don't know, Eitan Zana, for instance, or Shadi Safadi, or any of those guys, right? And then the same similar things is like, hey, I want to be a character artist. I want to do 3D character art for games or for commercials and whatnot. Well, then I'm looking at people like, I don't know, a good example would be Raf Grassetti, right? And then just compare your work, because those are the guys who already work in the industry. Those are the guys who are getting calls from clients, right? That's the level you want to reach eventually. If you want to work consistently for good money in this industry, it's not easy. And then maybe, you know, what it would take for me to be a janitor or someone who just make a living, and then I can enjoy time with family and friends. That might be your goal too. So you just have to really, really, you know, get to learn about yourself. There's no book that are going to help you with that. I don't think so. I mean, there's books that will help you to understand what processes and what traits made those specific people be successful. So for instance, if you read autobiography of Elon Musk, which is great, I really suggest reading that, because it just gives you a good insight about who he really was and who he really is. I don't think I could be that person. Like, you know, Elon has changed like what, 4 industries. He's one of the most prolific human beings ever. He changed like 4 industries, but guess what? He sucks at being a family man. Like, he really fucking do. At least from that biography book, I could tell that he's not a good family man. And if family does not matter to him as much as you know, work and changing fucking humanity does. So, but that's him. That's his goals, right? That's what he really wants to do in the life. So, but if you learn, you know, you have to learn it for yourself. Like, you might be not that kind of person. So if you set yourself to be the next Elon Musk, for instance, I know it's a fucking high goal, but hey, why not? Then you have to understand the sacrifices you're going to have to make along the way might not align with who you really are. So yeah, I guess that would be my point. And in terms of like the books that I would recommend reading, that will help you to be more informed so that you can make those choices later for yourself, would be, I think the first one you should read is Eat That Frog. That's really a good one for productivity. It helps you to sort of see what paths work for a lot of people when it comes to be productive. I think Essentialism book. I think it was Essentialism book that was really good. That was really good to read. There's quite a few. I can't remember exactly. Let me actually pull it. I have it on my phone. I have all my books. I always do audiobooks, so I use Audible. That's not our sponsor or anything, but they are awesome. I can tell you, I've read like, I've listened to like fucking 50 books already or something. Eat That Frog was the best in my opinion. What else? I'm trying to find good ones. There's so many. Mastery was a really good book. Deep Work, Rules for Focused Success. That's a really good one. Let's see what else. I would maybe start with those 3. So Eat That Frog, Mastery, and oh, you know what? Ego ego is the enemy. That's a good one too. It doesn't really apply to productivity or choices, but it talks about egos and how egoistic people ruin their careers and companies. So it's really good. It just gives you a perspective why you should always be humbled. Essentialism was good too, and then also relentless, from good to great to unstoppable. That's a good one, but you have to be in that mindset again. Like I would say, those books are helpful, but they're helpful for you to understand who you are, I guess. And then maybe once you understand your strengths and weaknesses, then it'll be easier for you to actually make choices. I think making choices, whatever choice you make, you have to, it doesn't matter if you make a good or bad choice, in my opinion. What matters is what you learn from making that choice. If you make a good choice, obviously that's good for you. If you make a bad choice and you don't realize it was a bad choice, then you've learned nothing. So if you make a bad choice, but then you understand like, oh shit, I made a mistake. And then you understand why you made that mistake. That'll help you a lot to make better choices in the future. And all of it compounds over time. So the more good choices you make, all of it will start sort of like compounding and make your life easier, and your decision-making process easier. I don't think I have to mention going a little bit beyond headlines and learning to read and not take everything from the face value, and not looking at what people posting in social media and whatnot as something that, you know, decides what their lives are like. All of those things are bullshit, dude. If you read social media, like if you read the posts people are posting, and you take it as what it's really like in their lives, oh boy, you're in for a ride. Like don't do that. People like to colorize what their lives are like, and in many cases they don't show the truth. So that's why I don't fucking look at social media anymore. I have like maybe 5 or 10 people that I'm subscribed to, that only post like really inspirational stuff that makes me really want to do stuff. And that's it. I don't, if you post your family pictures, I don't give a fuck, man. Like I couldn't care less about someone else's family, unless those are my friends and like, oh shit, they went there. But like friends that I know like really well, friends that I really know really well, then I'll be okay with the family pictures, because like, oh shit, they did this and that, and then I can ask like, how was it, and then maybe learn something for myself, you know, maybe go to the same place that they went. Like that makes sense to me. But people posting like, I went there and it was amazing and this and that, and then like when you meet those friends in person, they tell you like completely different story. Like, holy shit, that wasn't so great, huh? But no one posts that on social media. That's the problem. Everything is colorized. So I don't read social. I try to avoid social media as much as I can. I almost use it as a communication tool. So if I want to talk to people, sorry, if I want to catch up with people, if I want to yeah, like look at what Vitaly or Eitan or some other guys are doing, some new art that they've been posting, like that kind of stuff is what I use it for. Otherwise, it's always disabled. I don't even bother to check it, you know. So if for those guys who are trying to reach out to me through Facebook and I'm not replying, that means I'm usually busy with life, with doing like work and maybe spending time with family and stuff like that, and I don't have time or might not have time to reply. I try to reply as much as I can. But yeah, anyways, I'm usually, as always, I'm rambling around the answers. So let's see what else. Thanks for subscription, guys. By the way, I've noticed that was Akirimis, subscribed. Thanks for that. And there was one more person somewhere there. Crash and Create, subscribe as well. Thanks, guys. Let me see what other questions did I miss. How you make 3D heavy? How much 3D heavy is going to be your next course? It's going to be almost zero 3D heavy, guys. It's gonna be more on the level of foundation, actually. What are your thoughts on thoughts on using 3D kits for concept art in your portfolio? Do studios care? Studios don't give a fuck. Honestly, so when you work with production designers or art directors, depending like over, so production designer would be film, art directors would be video games. If you work with those people, all they care is like if you can execute the design that they're after. So if you're using like kit bash pieces to do that, really they don't care. All that matters is that it's done the way that they are expecting it to be done. Like the final result is what they're expecting. The problem with kit bashing stuff is it's very easy to make something look cool, but the moment you have to make changes, now the actual design process kicks in, and that can become a problem if the only thing you're doing is kit bashing. So that's something you have to pay attention to when you're using kit bashing. There's nothing bad about doing it, but you have to know that it's almost like sketching, and sometimes the sketch is going to be perfect and sometimes not. And then when it's not, that means you're going to have to spend quite a bit of time cleaning it up, especially like with 3D. If you're kit bashing with 3D, I've noticed, there was a couple of projects that I worked on recently where it almost felt to me that it's going to be quite easy to do it with kit bashing. And then I quickly realized that the requirements of the design made it more like, so instead of kit bashing, I ended up actually modeling everything, like really spending time and poly modeling stuff. So that's something you have to understand, that kit bashing is great for ArtStation, I guess, like if you just want to post it for friends and stuff. But in actual work, if you can pull it off, if you're like Vitaly level where you can kit bash shit, but he's so good at modeling fast. He models as fast as kit bashing. So if he wants to make design choices, then it's pretty easy for him to make them. So I would say only use it when your foundation is already good, meaning you can model stuff as well, like really good. So if you are asked to do changes, you can do them really quick. Because if you in a day kit bash like let's say a full robot, right? I'm gonna kit bash like a mech, and then designer are gonna come back with changes that all of a sudden you don't have pieces to make those changes. You have to model that stuff. It's gonna take, and if it takes you like 3 days to do cosmetic changes because your modeling sucks, you're in trouble. So that's my experience when it comes to that. Routine wise, do you have any passions outside of art, music, cooking? If so, do you switch up days and focus on them, on the others, or try to do a little of each per day? I used to do jiu-jitsu religiously almost. I used to do it before I had my kid. I did it like 3 times a week, 4 times a week even, which for those who know jiu-jitsu, you should know that's pretty it's not an easy task to do. I fucking hope it's not gonna crash. That's one of the things that I don't like about new Photoshop, how slow it can get with the brushes. Anyways, I used to do jiu-jitsu. Now I'm more of I almost became like this fucking old dad. Old dad family man. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Um, yeah, it's not as it used to be before. A little more mellow these days. I do have my sort of hobbies or time fillers. What I try to do the most is if I'm not working, I still want to have at least a little bit of time for family each day. Um, I started playing some games recently. Just sort of like I haven't played games for ages. I don't think I played games for like years and years. So it's a little refreshing to sort of like relax and not care about creativity or anything like that, or things where you have to perform tasks, but instead you're just relaxing and being entertained. I think you have to have a little bit of that in your life. So again, it might be depending on your character. Like for instance, Ash. Ash is the kind of person that he doesn't. I don't think he has to ever relax. He's running and doing everything all at once. And I admire him for that. He is a character like that. So, um, but yeah, there are people that can do that. I cannot personally. Um, yeah, it all depends like what kind of personality you have. But I would advise you to have something that is not art because you can burn out really quick if you're just doing art. You can burn out really quick. I did burn out many times already, where I literally didn't want to do any work. And not only like personal work, like work, where I know I have deadlines and I'm not doing shit to meet them, and I'm really have to force myself to do it. So, like, you don't want to be in that predicament. So, you know what? One feature would be nice to have if Photoshop could add that. It's like if you select a couple of layers and then you can edit them all at once, like the warp tool. Like you could warp them all at once. That would be fucking awesome. That's what the Manga Studio has, and Photoshop fucking fix that, make it happen. You see, like I could, so that I can fucking, I don't have to merge those two layers. I wish there was an option like that. Either way, let's see. I gotta have to merge it anyways, so just making cool armor there. Cool armor there. I'm gonna read a question in a second. Oh, so there's a new. So let's talk about those new things in Photoshop. I'll show you only one thing. So what they added is Lazy Brush, which is fucking finally, and it sucks for the guys from Lazy Nezumi because all of a sudden you don't need that plugin like with one update. But what it does is basically what it's like stabilize in Clip Studio Paint. So it basically, if I go to 0, it's gonna be my regular brush, right? So let me actually open a new file real quick. So if I paint really slowly, let me actually make it bigger. Like this. So if I move my brush really slowly, you can see how irregular it is. And you have that smoothing option right here. So depending on the percentage, the more percentage, the more stabilized your stroke is going to be. You see how you have that little red line that is going with the stroke. If I go 100%, it's even more apparent. So I'm almost moving all of those things at the same speed, and you can see how different the lines look. So especially if I move fast like that, you can see that line becoming like the faster you move, the longer that the lazy brush line becomes. I found to be like 12%, somewhere below 10% works the best for like sketching, because it just gives you that naturalistic feel. to your brush strokes. So where's that brush that I used? It was really good. I had this fucking brush. Maybe that one. Yeah, so now you can actually, make cool sketches without it's really good. It's really good. It works seamlessly. So I enjoy that. I'm glad that they've added that to Photoshop. Anyways, let's move on. What other questions did I miss? What was one of the biggest obstacles you've ever faced when you just started out as an artist in the industry? So I can tell you obstacles that I had along the way, but I don't know how they're gonna apply to today's day, because when I was learning art, it was different times, man. It was really different times. Industry has changed so much over time. It's not even funny. And as most of the artists that I know, and myself personally, and if you're not an artist that is doing the same thing, you should probably look into it. But I never sit on the work that I've done and feel like, oh, fucking, I made it. Now I'm good. I never do that. Like, working in this industry for so long, and like working enough to understand how fast and rapid the changes are. If I don't progress and learn new things and really look into what's going on in the industry and try to make my work better and better every time, I'll be out of work in 10 years. I know that. I know that. I've seen that happen to artists already. That if you stagnate and do nothing, like, don't improve, just like, oh, I fucking made it and now I can chill and not give a fuck, boy, like, you can get yourself in trouble. That doesn't mean like you will never get out of it, like from that rot. You can always get out of it. It's never too late to learn. It's never too late to get better at things. You don't have to be 20 years old to learn things. You can be fucking 45 and you can still make it in the industry. It's just a matter of how much time and effort you're gonna put into. Like, the older you get, obviously, the harder it gets. So that's something you have to understand too. Like, the older you get, the harder it gets to learn, not to work, to learn. And there's artists out there they'll outperform you really quickly because they are just learning faster. So that's something like you have to pay attention to as you're learning and getting older, specifically, because like, I'm looking at the young artists today, and it's just like, if I had the mindset of giving up, I'll be depressed. Like, fuck, those new guys, they're so good. They're fast, good and fast, and that's fucking insane. Like, some of them are insane fast and learn and become better really, really fast. I remember looking up some of the artists, like seeing some of the artists come up, let's say 5-6 years ago, and now they are way up there. They are fucking killing it, absolutely killing it. One of my friends, Nick Jindra, he's working at Lightstorm right now with James Cameron, and Nick joined Naughty Dog when I was going back to Poland, which was in 2012. That's when he started learning. Well, not started learning, but that's where his work, he became like more and more serious about his work, like around that time. I did have my podcast with Nick, so I really advise you guys to listen to it. But yeah, like, That's fucking scary. Like in matter of couple of years, he is already on that fucking highest level, where for me it took like 20 years. You know what I mean. So so yeah, for those younger guys, it's easier. Um, but yeah, like my mentality, it's I'm never gonna stop learning, and I just keep on keeping on and try to deliver the best work. And sometimes it doesn't work out, but I try to make it work out as much as I can. That what matters. So I hope that answers your question. What else is there? Do you think there's still a need to know how to paint things from scratch, like an old masters and freehand perspective, etc.? Or do you think incorporating 3D in some way is a much better route? It's definitely making things easier. I would say you would still want to learn how those things work. Like having a practice where you really try to to make things from scratch is what will make it for you to understand why specific things work a specific way. But obviously there are ways where you can just shortcut things, right? So for instance, using 3D to make perspective better, I'm not going to advise you not to, because it's a right choice for production. But you need to what you need to do is understand why it's working that way. Like what is making 2-point perspective, what is making 1-point perspective, what is making 3-point perspective, and how the perspective changes based on the camera that you use, right? So for instance, as humans, we see everything in the same sort of field of view, right? It's not like my field of view is if you make it equivalent for camera lenses, right? I think human sight is around 50 millimeters. That's how we see things, as like what 50 millimeter lens would see. And then all of a sudden a guy who's next to me would see 24 millimeters. That's not how eyesight works. But when you look at images, especially like concept art, for environment concept art, a lot of environment concept artists would make those really stretched out, wide angle camera images, which makes things look different than, let's say, a very sort of like long lens, vistas, for instance, right? And if you understand how perspective works, you will know that the longer the lens there is, the more of a 2-point perspective you're gonna have, versus if you're using like really wide lens camera, that's becoming immediately a 3-point perspective. So knowing things like that and observing and understanding why things work, not just using tools to make things easier, but using tools to make things easier as well as understanding why they are making things easier, and understanding the specific rules that you're sort of like hopping instead of making everything by hand, right? So there's nothing wrong by making shortcuts, but it's good to know as you're making those shortcuts what can be done to for you to understand why those choices matter. Like why if I use 3D for this specific thing, for this specific image, how it's going to impact my composition, right? Because if you build something in 3D, but you don't understand composition or perspective, you might choose the wrong camera. You might choose the wrong lens in your image, and that's going to impact the way you read the image. It's not going to feel as it's supposed to feel. Like there's going to be something off. And that's what I'm referring to by understanding the foundation. Like that's the foundation stuff, basically. So I would say it's still important to learn it. but it's fine to use shortcuts to bypass some of those things. And it's for production, it's really advised actually to do that. So that would be my point of view. So okay, the more I'm using the new Photoshop, the more I learn how laggy it is, and it's an issue. Definitely with the brushes. There's an issue with the brushes here. They're very fucking laggy. Might be the view. Let's see. I don't want to show additional preset info. I don't want the names. Maybe that's why. Yeah, there you go. All I need is just to see my brushes. Maybe that's one's gonna work. Yeah, there you go. That works pretty well. Yeah. All right. Let's see what's next. Do you think that this scare over new generation of younger, more tech-savvy artists will force old masters to block younger colleagues? Because industry is kind of young and who want to lose years and years of hard experience to some 20-year-old with a VR kit, right? Well, it's already happening. Well, not that like old masters are trying to block. They do. I mean, if you look at the union, the film union basically makes it harder for you to work in films. That's basically what the film union does. They protect the artists that they already have. So that's already there. And it's really hard to work in films if you're not in a union. Sometimes it's almost impossible. Like that's the first thing, especially if the films start, and most of them do start in Los Angeles. You have to be in the union in order to do that. So that's already there. Like this sort of like predicament of having obstacles. Even though you have skills, you cannot do something because you're not the member of some group. That's already there with unions. That's how it works. However, a lot of artists get invited to union, and that's because production designers and directors and producers, they look at what artists can do and how they can help their film. And for them, that matters more than the fact that someone is or isn't in a union. So there is a bunch of artists in the union that just don't work anymore because they never moved with time. And I think that applies to video games as well, where in video games you're gonna have artists that start to fade away because they never moved with times and never wanted to really improve themselves. So there's a lot of that going on, but I honestly, the only thing you should really care about is being like really good at things, really good at, if you want to be an artist, be good at fucking art, and you will not have problems finding jobs. Again, a good example, fucking my friend Nick. He was not in a union when he started working for James Cameron, and now he is. So I think he is in a union. So he has to be if he's working for Lightstorm. So you can get there. It's just it just matters of how good you are. And I'm not trying to knock off anyone, by the way. I mean, I understand why you would want to protect, the years of your experience and not really be in that constant grind, because it fucking sucks. Like you've learned everything that you wanted to learn over years, and then now all of a sudden, because you haven't paid attention for a bit, or you wanted to relax and maybe have more family time, you're getting off rails because things are moving so fast. So I totally understand that, and I feel that way sometimes too. So yeah. Hold on, guys. I'm gonna need to do something real quick. I kill my monitor. I have I have some notifications that I need to kill. You guys are not supposed to see. But give me 1 second. There you go. Forgot to kill notifications on an application. Okay, there we go. Alright, let's see what other questions are there. I'm gonna read a few more and then wrap it up. I'm still feeling sick. I wanna get I wanna get a little bit of relaxed time, and I have a lot of work today to do. And later tonight I'm streaming with Spart, Nicholas, Nicholas Bouvier, the legendary Spart. You're gonna see that on Art Cafe. So, all right, let me read 2 more questions really quick. I'm just gonna pick them randomly. Are you working professionally with VR yet? Not yet, but I plan to. I know Jama does. So, maybe if you already answered it, but which old or modern artists inspire you the most? Where do you think the graphic styles come from? Your graphic style comes from. My graphic style comes from learning, I guess, learning and understanding myself. I'm pretty sure I was inspired by Craig Mullins' work for the longest time. Obviously, looking at artists like Jamie Jones and all of those guys who are amazing artists, that obviously, I guess, influenced the way I work. But I think at the end of the day, I would hope that I've created some kind of style of my own, and I hope I did inspire other artists to find theirs. That would be my biggest hope, obviously. If I did that in any shape or form, that would be awesome. But I don't know. I guess that's what you guys have to answer for yourself. Modern artists. Well, Craig Mullins obviously was my biggest inspiration for the most of my career. Today, I'm more looking into inspiration outside of art. Honestly, I do still admire a lot of what a lot of artists do, but I'm not taking it as like, oh my god, he painted this, I need to paint something similar. I don't look at it that way. Although I would say that I did have my period of time where, and I do those experiments, I post them, and you guys can see it, where, for instance, I like my Otomo Katsuhiro would be another one. Like that, obviously, Akira and all of his work that he've done, Magnetic Rose, all those films, fuck, it's just the best. So I had my period of time, or I still do, where I'm inspired by his work, and some of the images that I've done recently were heavily inspired by his work, and I wanted to try to see if I can mimic a similar style with my own ideas, So, so I did that. I try to like do different things and see what makes me excited when it comes to work, and same goes to like styles and artists that I admire. Like Richard Schmidt is a great painter that I admire. From like the old timers, I would say obviously Ralph McGuire. I would say, and from the classic ones, some of the Russian painters, I cannot remember names I cannot remember the names, but there are some Russian painters from 1800s, 1900s, or 1700s, 1800s that were just fucking amazing, especially for like landscapes. Caravaggio did amazing work. I did enjoy Rembrandt's portraits. Yeah, there's a bunch, but I'm not like, oh my god, that's my best artist, I'm so inspired, I always gonna mention those names because blah blah blah. Nah, none of that. I'm trying to find sources from different directions these days, and see what kind of information I can soak in, and really sort of out of that develop my own language. I guess that's how I would look at it. All right, guys, let's wrap it up today. I've promised we're gonna have a VR stream very soon. I'm still waiting to talk with David Levy because he wanted to do a stream with the gravity sketch and not gravity, medium, Oculus Medium. I want to test out gravity sketch as well. I've downloaded it and it's ready to go. I have my headset ready to go. Everything is set up. It's just now setting up time for it and not being sick in the first place, so I can actually creatively do something cool. The biggest issue is that I need to have someone to help me on the stream, to be on the Skype with me when I do that, because if I put my goggles on, I'm not gonna see what you guys are writing. So it's either gonna be Momo or maybe like a guest of mine or something like that, where we can have like a back and forth conversation. But yeah, we'll definitely do that. So guys, let me know, how do you feel about the new setup with the mic? The only problem with that setup is that this is my second dynamic mic. It's a better one. It has a better quality to it, but it requires like a proper mic technique. And if I'm moving my head a lot, then it's different proximity effect and might affect the way it sounds. And I hope it doesn't sound like shit. I don't know which sound was better, if with my old setup or the new setup. With this new setup, it's easier for me to paint because I don't have this huge fucking arm and the mic right in front of me where I have to like literally fucking move my hand around it. Like this is like out of the way a little bit, so it's easier for me to paint that way. But again, I want to make sure that the quality is the best when it comes to those streams. So yeah, let me know. Bombard me with emails or messages if you want to. If it sucks, fucking tell me. Tell me. If it doesn't, if it works really well, and if the quality is at least same, I'll be best. That would definitely make things easier for me specifically. But again, it's not about me here. So again, I've been working on this sketch for a while now, and I'll keep working on it. I'm experimenting, seeing what sticks. Some things won't. Some things like this rock here I'm probably going to delete, but I'll see where it goes and maybe make something cool out of it. I wish I had the same skill as my friend John Park, which, by the way, I should fucking invite to a stream soon, because I haven't talked with that guy for a while now, and he's the best. I love the way he sketches and talks. Like, he's just a badass when it comes to split attention, of creating amazing art, sketching like a motherfucker, and still being able to keep up with the conversation. I wish I had that skill. Honestly, I would have this sketch finished already if I haven't talked at all. But anyways, I hope that works too. Anyways, guys, thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next week, and if you want, join my art cafe tonight. I'll be streaming with Spart, and we'll have a conversation there too. So otherwise, enjoy your day or night or morning, wherever you are, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.